Jaana Felicitas inspires me. I love her emotional, artistic, magical performances. I recently had the opportunity to chat with Jaana. I think you will enjoy this talk very, very much. Now let's start with a beautiful performance clip of Jaana's magic. Jaana, I am so excited that you're here. Finally, we're featuring you on Magical Women. Now, our paths have crossed quite a few times with FISM, and so welcome and thank you so much for taking the time to talk to us.
Thanks so much for having me. I'm very glad we do this. It's great.
Yes, I have to admit, your magic moves me. So can you please share with the viewers what motivates you?
It's very kind that you say that. I would say my approach is very theatrical. So because I come from the world of dance, of course, movement always plays a part. I think movement is what comes very natural to me. So mostly the ideas start with movement, and then the approach in general is very theatrical. So I think about the story a lot. I think about what I want to tell. And I'm a fan of abstract stories because I'm from the contemporary world. So it's nothing too literal. It's mostly abstract. So I want to give the audience the option to interpret whatever they want to interpret to the scene.
Right. Now, as a dancer, you would approach performance differently than as a magician. So can you just share with, because there are many dancers that transition into and dancers from different genres of dance, how is performing magic different for you than performing as a professional dancer?
Oh, wow. Very difficult question. Actually, I did a lecture about this once because I think it's very interesting because there's so many things that are so different, and then again they can profit from each other. What I would say was one of the biggest differences for me in magic is that the development of an act takes a lot more time than it does in dance, because in dance you have your training from a very young age and you have your training, and then at some point you're done and you're in the job. And when you do a new piece, it's usually like 4 weeks of rehearsing, and then you perform it for, let's say, a month, maybe. And in magic, it takes you sometimes years to finish an act, but then again, you can perform it for years. So the approach is very different because of what you can work with afterwards.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. And here's another question that I think pertains to a lot of I think more female magicians than male magicians, and that is transitioning from being a magic assistant to being a magician. That's another big leap, and you've done all 3 leaps. So can you just share with the viewers how you did that?
It was more or less. It's very difficult to say how that happened. I realized at some point, because I was backstage so much and I got to travel so much and see many different kinds of magic. And at some point I realized, I would love to do more than, just be an effect. I love to be the effect, like the tada, the moment of appearing, for example. But at some point I decided, I want to be more than just an effect. I want to be the one doing the effect. I want to perform this and I want to realize my ideas. And I started very basic by reading books and doing some little things. And then I was lucky enough that I was working for a magician, for Topas actually, who realized this and who helped me and who instantly said, oh, wow, you're very interested in this. So, okay, so then let's let's try and do something. And he mentored me through all this. And I guess that's what really made a difference.
Right. And do you feel, because a lot of people don't understand the importance of having a mentor, can you just share why you think it's so important that you had that mentor and how it affected your career?
I think, and again, this is one of the biggest differences for me between dance and magic. For dance and for other performing arts, we have schools, like a ballet school and then a school for theater acting, singing schools, and you go through a very clear process of learning an art form. And in magic, um, there's schools, different ways of learning magic, but not in a not as standardized maybe as in other performing arts. So having a mentor who guides you is like having a school of magic, someone to tell you, now please read this and try these techniques, and maybe from this you can approach to the next level and do this. And so this is like having a school, having someone to guide you through this world. So I would say it's very important to have this.
And also, just as you're speaking, it's making me reflect that perhaps having somebody that knows you and knows your skill sets and sees the particular elements that you could add to a performance that might make you different or add different layers to somebody else, that's a tremendous benefit.
Of course, because looking from the outside is always different than you yourself would look, from the inside. Sometimes you're not very objective. Maybe you're just doubting yourself too much, and having someone from the outside who is supportive and tells you, I believe you could do this, or I believe you could do that, is very good. It's very good guidance.
Yeah, you're just fast tracking on their knowledge because, they look at you and they go, okay, I see, and you, whatever, manipulation, levitation, but I see that this is something that is going to be a good fit for you. And so, yeah, I think that's really important. What is the very best advice that Topaz has given you or shared with you? What have you learned the most from?
Well, he's given me many good advices actually. He's always very good when he looks at the act specifically, because he's very clear, and his critiques are very fair, and it's always, it's helping you so much just doing one session. But one of the best advices that he ever gave me was that you're only as good as the team that surrounds you. And so you should network well, and you should work close to the people around you, and you should always help each other and support each other. And this is basically the vibe that we have here in the city among us magicians. And it's very nice to feel that, because it's, like we're very close and really helping each other.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Again, that also goes back to being a dancer and being feeding off of corrections and feeding off of teamwork, because you work as a unit to create a choreography, to create as a core, as a company. And so that kind of leads me to my next question, which is, do you think your work ethic as a dancer has influenced your work ethic as a magician? Because I can tell you personally that the magicians that I've interviewed, the ones with a dance background, are extremely disciplined and extremely dedicated. But I just wondered if you could share a little bit more light about that.
Definitely, I would say so, because I'm very methodical when it comes to working on something, because I'm used to a very tight rehearsal schedule, to like do the physical health stuff, do mental health stuff, eat correctly, sleep enough, and then work like very constantly on your stuff. And I'm really trying to do this. So when it comes to rehearsing, I'm still thinking like a dancer, like, okay, do 3 hours, then break, think about everything again, do 2 hours, break, and then do yoga afterwards, and go to bed early, stuff like that. So yes, definitely, I would say that my work ethic is a lot influenced by being a dancer.
Yeah, I think that magicians could learn from that. Because I think that structure, there's a reason that it's so successful, and I think that it would be really interesting if we could share that with more magicians, so that they would understand that the power of having that discipline. Because I truly think that is a great benefit. And that helps springboard, so many magicians forward because of it.
Sure. Again, I think it's because I learned this in school. This is what we learned in school when we were practicing together and rehearsing together. And since many magicians start on their own, alone, and practice alone in front of a mirror, and don't have this feeling of being a company or a team, then sometimes it's hard to motivate yourself. You have to get used to this, because usually we were motivating each other when it comes to dance. And I get why in magic many are not used to this kind of rehearsing.
This has been absolutely fantastic. Thank you so much for taking the time today to talk to us in the midst of a busy schedule and launching a new show. And congratulations on your success. And we cannot wait to see what you're going to come up with in the future.
Thank you so much, Connie. It was such a pleasure to talk to you again.
Were you inspired by that clip? Would you like to see more? Don't forget to comment and to let us know what you prefer and what you like best. And if you have questions that you would like us to ask, be sure to include them as well. I'm Connie Boyd, and this is Magical Women. Ciao for now.